What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
Okay, let's do this. Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And I wanted to make another video today following last night's loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I did kind of do a post game last night with Connor. It was his first appearance on the channel for a while. But I wanted to do something today that was a little more nuanced and just kind of because like last night our post game show was just like profanity laden, and we really went off. We went in on this team, but I wanted to make another video today just by myself, just being one on one with you guys, the fans, about my thoughts on this current situation with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I want to talk about Brett Veach and the job that he's done. Last night's loss was terrible. It felt really demoralizing. And when I say that, a lot of you probably think, oh, the Chiefs got blown out if you hadn't watched the game. And I'm telling you that. But that's not what happened. But the reason it's so demoralizing is because, once again, the same issues are coming back to bite this team in the ass. It's the lack of offense. It's the lack of offense in the second half. It's the bad wide receiver play. And against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who are really good, they're going to expose that you're not going to be able to win these types of games with the offense that the Kansas City Chiefs currently have. Sure, you can win games like you did against the Miami Dolphins in Germany, where you put up 17 points in the first half. And also, let's give the defense credit because they scored one of the touchdowns in that first half. But there was zero offense in the second half. But you were able to escape the win because your defense plays lights out. But I compared this team to last night. I made the analogy to like a baseball team that asks its starting pitcher to go 8 innings and throw a shutout. And it's not fair because it's unrealistic and you can't ask them to do that every single night. Sure, this defense is capable of doing that. They're really good, just like there's pitchers in baseball that are capable of going 8 innings and pitching a shutout. But you cannot ask them to do that every single night. And what the Kansas City Chiefs are asking their defense to do is pitch a shutout every single night. And it's like when a baseball team loses 1-0, and they're like, well, you will have that one run at the end of the 8th inning. So, yeah, it's your fault that we lost. No, you need to be able to put up points. But the Kansas City Chiefs offense is so freaking inept that it is a struggle for them to break 20 points. I talked about this a few weeks ago. And again, I apologize because I was kind of MIA for a little bit on Chiefs content. I was spending some time at home after being away for a while and whatnot. But I made a video a couple weeks ago and I talked about how it is a struggle for this team to break 20 points each night. And that's a scary thought because if you're not breaking 20 points, you're not winning in the postseason. You're just not. And I know people have said it on my videos before, Josh, we don't need to put up a bunch of points if our defense is going to be this good. No, you're still going to have to put up points even with your defense being this good. Because what was everyone's complaint a few years ago when this defense was still being built? And the Chiefs had to put up 30 points a game to win. Everyone's like, if Mahomes just had, an above average defense, then, you don't have to go out there and put up 30 and 40 points. No one's asking the Chiefs to go out there and put up 30 and 40 points anymore. We're just asking them to score, I don't know, 24 points a game. If they scored 24 points last night, they could have won that. They would have won. They would have beat the Eagles. You could see it last night. You could feel it coming when the Chiefs were just clinging on to that second half lead. The 17 points they scored in the first half, and they went into the half up by 10, and then they came out in the second, struggled to really move the ball the same way that they did earlier in the game. It just felt like it took everything this offense had in it to even go 10 yards and get a first down. Patrick Mahomes was pressing. A lot of their first downs that they did get, they would find themselves in a 3rd-and-long situation, and Mahomes would find freaking Justin Watson for some miracle first down. That's really all this offense is. And then, of course, you have Isaiah Pacheco who can run the ball pretty well, and he's been doing good this season. But still, the passing game is not there, and that's this team's bread and butter. It's supposed to be this team's bread and butter is the passing game, and unfortunately, it is the weakest link on the team. And I know everyone wants to point to the defense and be like, Josh, we don't need to put up a bunch of points. And again, no one's asking them to put up a bunch of points. We're not asking them to score 30 and 40 a game. We're asking them to break 24 points, guys. How hard is that? And we're asking them not to go scoreless in the second half, but they feel incapable of putting together a consistent offense. The Chiefs are going to see teams like the Philadelphia Eagles in January and February in the playoffs, and you're going to have to be able to score points against those teams, or else we're just going to see what happened last night happen in the postseason. That type of game is going to happen over and over again. It's going to happen again this season. Before the end of the season, the Chiefs are going to have another game like that if these offensive struggles continue. And the offensive struggles are pretty clear. I mean, we are 11 weeks into the season, and this wide receiver core does not look any different than it did in week 1 against the Detroit Lions. It looks the exact same. It's the same issues. It's the same wide receivers getting the same amount of snaps. Rashid Rice is probably their best receiver, but he plays marginally. He makes a positive impact most of the time he gets the ball, but he's a rookie. Like what are you gonna do? A rookie cannot be your best wide receiver. Justin Watson also cannot be your best wide receiver. And Connor said it on our little post game show last night. But Justin Watson, it seems like any given play, he could be Justin Jefferson or he could be Garrett Dieter, because the guy drops simple passes sometimes, and other times he makes the greatest catch you've ever seen. He can't be your number one, though. He was a practice squad wide receiver, a great story, but cannot be your number one. Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I've been somewhat of an MVS defender over time because I think he's a solid wide receiver that'll get you 600 to 700 yards a year, and that's fine. He's a good wide receiver 3, but he's being forced into this wide receiver 1 role kind of by default, and it's unfair to him. And then, of course, you get plays like last night, and that was just inexcusable. That drop, I mean, that if he had caught that, the Chiefs would have won the game. Because here's the other thing about this defense is that I feel confident that even with over a minute left on the clock and the Eagles having timeouts left, that the Chiefs defense would have stopped them. I couldn't see the Eagles driving the entire length of the field on this Chiefs defense. They're just too good. I was that confident in this defense, but unfortunately we're wasting all these great defensive performances because of the wide receiver play. It's all the wide receivers, guys. And Connor and I even talked about secondary complaints like the offensive tackles. They're iffy, but they're not the reason you're losing games. It's something that you would like to see cleaned up, sure, but the ultimate issue is wide receiver play. Turnovers are another thing. This team cannot stop turning the ball over. Most of that has actually been, though, Patrick Mahomes being careless with the ball this year. Patrick Mahomes has been absolutely careless with the ball. He's almost hit double-digit interceptions already. I'm not sure if he did last night, but I know he's close. And then Travis Kelce fumbling in the red zone, absolutely can't have it. Who knows how the game goes if Travis Kelce doesn't fumble there. That obviously is a big issue. But Travis Kelce fumbling is not something that's been going on all season long. So that's not what I'm too worried about. Yeah, it sucks. He knows better than that, but I can move past that. I can't move past this wide receiver play. And I said it last night, but over the years, I have kind of learned to be really patient with this team. Usually most of their issues get figured out by the time the postseason rolls around. I've just kind of learned to take the optimistic angle, kind of like after the Colts lost last year. I wasn't out here pushing the panic button saying the sky is falling. Sure, the team had weaknesses, but I had faith in the Chiefs. Brett Veach had earned the benefit of the doubt. He had earned the benefit of the doubt after showing some real guts, not this past offseason, but the one before that, and trading Tyreek Hill and drafting all those players like Karlaftis and McDuffie and stuff like that. I thought he earned the benefit of the doubt because we went out there and we won the Super Bowl. But I just can't be patient with this wide receiver core anymore, guys. I don't think it's changing. I think this is it. I don't think it's getting better. Thanksgiving is this week. Thanksgiving's in a couple days. It's the same wide receiver group. It's the same story every freaking game. What reason would I have to believe that it's going to get better? I don't see it happening, guys. I really am coming to the point of realization that this wide receiver group is going to prevent the Chiefs from winning or even going to a Super Bowl. It just is. They're not good enough. You cannot repeat with this offense. You will not go to the Super Bowl with this offense. This offense, these wide receivers are incapable of going to a Super Bowl. They can't do it. I'm telling you guys, this team's going to lose in January if this is the wide receiver group that they roll out and this is the same offense that we see every single week. I mean, you had the bye week. You had the whole freaking bye week to figure this stuff out. Nothing's changed. And I have no reason to believe that it will get better. I don't think it's getting fixed this year. I don't think it's going to improve. I think this is the offense, and unfortunately, it's not good enough to win a Super Bowl. And that falls directly on the shoulders of Kansas City Chiefs general manager Brett Veach. He failed the wide receiver position this offseason. I've been very critical of Brett Veach over the years. I've also given him credit whenever it's due. But I once again have to lay criticism at the feet of Brett Veach because this wide receiver core is an absolute abomination. A lot of Chiefs fans over the offseason were warning people about this. A lot of Chiefs fans over the offseason were saying, hey, we need a veteran wide receiver. This wide receiver group isn't good enough. But Brett Veach, and this is one of my big criticisms about him, he loves betting on his in-house guys. Brett Veach will almost always stick with what the team has before ever going outside of the organization to get somebody. And even when they do go outside of the organization, they bring back guys like McCole Hardman who were on the team before, those kind of moves. And I hate that. And I wish Brett Veach would just swallow his pride, admit that the wide receiver group was not good enough, and he should have made a move because it's not even like the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have an opportunity to ever bring in a veteran wide receiver or get somebody. They just chose not to. Even at the trade deadline very recently, he could have tried to make a move and he just didn't. And it was reported by many that the Chiefs were confident in their guys, that they had faith in Sky Moore improving. And I'm so sick of that crap. Sky Moore is invisible. Sky Moore is a bust. Sky Moore will never be anything in this league. And I feel comfortable saying that at this point. Through almost 2 seasons in his career, we've seen absolutely nothing. He was invisible again last night. 1 catch for 4 yards from Sky Moore. He's not good. And for this team to say, "Oh, we're confident that Sky Moore will figure it out in the second half of the season," are you kidding me? Just that's loser stuff. You know, that is a losing philosophy by saying that Sky Moore is going to figure it out. You want to say that about Rashee Rice? Sure, but they haven't really shown much confidence in getting him the ball, you know, after the first quarter in any of these games. It's just this wide receiver core is an abomination, and it is Brett Veach's fault. It is all his fault. You had a chance to get somebody, whether it was Adam Thielen, whether it was Odell Beckham, and I know the Ravens kind of overpaid for him, so it didn't necessarily have to be him, but anyone. And at this point in the season, I'm saying, you know what? Why not Sammy Watkins? Why not Jarvis Landry? Any of those guys? Somebody. Because you know what? I'd rather take a washed up Kenny Galladay or Jarvis Landry or Sammy Watkins instead of seeing Sky Moore out there to get 2 catches, 20 yards every single game. I'm done with it. It's like you're playing with 10 men on the field on offense with Sky Moore out there. And you can see Patrick Mahomes pressing on damn near every single drop back where there's no one open. He runs around. Maybe he's able to get a last second jump pass off to somebody to complete it for a first down. Otherwise, he's throwing it away or he's running. There's no trust. There's no chemistry with anyone besides like Justin Watson. And again, Justin Watson cannot be your best wide receiver. And it was just irresponsible for Brett Veach to roll this wide receiver core out there this year with not a single veteran, not someone you could fall back on in case you got the worst case scenario. And unfortunately, we did get the worst case scenario with this wide receiver group. And now Brett Veach has to answer for it because like Travis Kelce looks like a 34-year-old tight end. He's playing like 90+% of the snaps. He's gotten hurt a lot this year. He even came up limping last night. He doesn't look like the same guy. Teams are doubling and tripling him in coverage. It's just unfair to him. It was so stupid to rely on him this way. Everyone could see it coming, and that's the most frustrating part is that everyone could have predicted this. Everyone was calling for this team to add a veteran wide receiver, but Brett Veach didn't want to listen. He thought he was smarter than the rest of us with this wide receiver group. And so far, Brett Veach has shown that really he cannot evaluate wide receiver talent. He can't. And this group is a failure, and Brett Veach deserves a ton of blame. But that's kind of my rant, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. There's a lot more I could say, but then I'd be on here for like an hour. But I really want to get this out to you. How much blame do you guys think Brett Veach deserves for this wide receiver room? And do you have any confidence left that they'll figure it out? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And I will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!